So hello and a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Mark Morley and this is the IT Business Partner Podcast, a unique series where I'm joined every week by business partners and business relationship managers from around the globe. This is where we go beyond the job description to explore what really makes business partnering work, from breakthrough strategies to the hard-earned lessons that we hear directly from the people who are really defining this profession and teaching us how to learn to apply it in your world. Before we jump into the conversation today, I've got my usual two asks. I'm sorry to our regular viewers and listeners, but if you do have any feedback on the podcast, I'd love to hear it. Knowing what's important to our listeners helps us shape the conversations and guides the direction of the podcast. Secondly, if you are finding value in these episodes, please hit the follow or subscribe button. It just helps us grow the channel and reach more people. So on to today's episode, and I'm delighted to be joined by Stuart Fairweather, an IT business partner for a Japanese pharmaceutical manufacturer whose name I daren't attempt to pronounce. Good afternoon to you, Stuart. Thanks so much for joining me today. May I ask you for a brief introduction before we discuss what business partnering looks like to you, especially given the Japanese influence?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mark. It's great to be here. I've followed the podcasts for a number of months now, so it's good to finally get on here. So a little bit about me. I'm Stuart. I live in Scotland, in the northeast of Scotland, in Arbroath. I've been working in IT for nearly 18 years now. So where I live in Scotland, a lot of the job industry is the energy sector, because Aberdeen's not too far away from where I live. So I worked in the energy sector for a good 17 years, working in a service company and an operator. I've done various different sorts of IT roles, from application analyst to change management to service delivery, business engagement, and then business partnering. And then business partnering is where I've been focusing the last nine years of my career. And it's something that I'm very passionate about, is because of bridging that gap between IT and the business.
Right. And did you? So is this your second role as a business partner? Is it?
Yeah, second role as a business partner. First time in a energy company, and now back into pharmaceuticals, doing it there for a Japanese company based where I'm supporting the EMEA region of that company.
And are you? I read on your LinkedIn profile that you're actually building out the business partner capability. Is that right? Are you a kind of a lone ranger doing that?
No, there's myself and the head of business partnering for EMEA, and a couple other people in the team. Last year I was brought in to help set up the framework for IT business partnering, along with the head of IT business partnering, and we've started to roll it out as a phased approach. We didn't want to go big bang, so over the last couple of months we've expanded that out from not just being the functions, but actually out to the clusters within the organization, which is again a different type of conversation from what you're having with functional teams, which is great. So I think it's all about evolving it, and each conversation that you're having with the business is going to be different.
So do you have business partners elsewhere within EMEA, or do you have people that are in roles and you're kind of teaching them the business partner way, if you like?
So we've got another couple of business partners in the team along with me, and there's the head of IT business partner in EMEA, and then we're working with them to introduce them to what the business partnering framework is, what the business partnering goals are, and then we work with the wider business partner community within the company I work with in Japan and North America.
Okay. And how have you created that framework that you were talking about? Is that something that has been developed in the company already, or is that something you're all kind of figuring out as you go along?
So we based it upon previous experiences, because the team has come from other organizations that have done business partnering, and then over the course of time we've taken what we've learned in other organizations from business partnering, and then adapted it for how we'd like to do business partnering at Kia Kieran.
Okay. And how well is it being received by your partners?
Well received, just ensuring they have a focal point that they can reach out to. As we all know, ITs is a wonderful maze of who do you speak to about security, infrastructure, applications. Having that one person that not necessarily will have the answer, but can direct the conversation on to the right person. Having that one person they can go to as a focal point has been well received across the organization, especially in EMEA.
So do you think IT as a function is kind of better trusted or better understood now that you've got the business partners kind of helping them translate what it is they're doing to the rest of the business?
I think it's just added an extra a bow to our string having business partnering, because it allows them the confidence. They know that if they're giving it to somebody within IT, that we're actually being that conductor or orchestra. We can orchestrate it who it needs to go to, rather than worrying about who do I speak to. They know that they can go speak to one of the business partners and they can help them, guide them to the right person, because not all conversations can be led by business partners. Sometimes we need to pull in. I'm a big advocate of pulling in the infrastructure team, the security team, the application team, the data team, because that's what their core skills are. That's where they're experienced in, that they can help be that extra voice from IT as well.
And can I ask, because we've been working with the BRM Institute for a long time, and so kind of our view of BRM is based a lot on theirs and what we've kind of learned and already knew. So there's certain things that we kind of expect business partners and BRMs to do, but in each organization that we speak to do it slightly differently. And Miriam, who I spoke to from Abu Dhabi on the last episode, their business partners are really owners of projects. So this is not something we've really seen with other organizations, that the BPs own the projects. What involvement do you have in projects and programs? Is it purely oversight, or are you really kind of hands-on?
Depending on the project, sometimes we're hands-on as pseudo project managers to help guide that project along, depending on the requirements of the project. If we're working with a third party or internally, business partners do get involved to make sure that we're on time, we're on track, we're not going to fall behind, because we're interfacing with the business and they'll want to know as well. So yeah, we do have pseudo hats.
Okay. And do you get involved in kind of rationalizing the projects that come through? Do you have an idea of what the whole business is kind of aiming at, and which projects are going to help, meet those goals?
We have PMO governance in the organization. So basically the PMO team, we bring the projects in. So what part of what we've been doing with business partnering is that obviously we're having regular conversations. That's either fortnightly, monthly. We're tracking the demand in a business partner demand tracker, and then anything that's really going to move on from a conversation into actually a project, we work with the PMO team and say, this is the project that's coming, this is the type of skill set that we're going to require. Actually, we've got people internally, or actually we're going to have to go out to the external market and bring in a third party to support us on that.
Okay. And so do you think that helps? Because resourcing is always an issue, whether it's people or money, time. So do you think that process that you go through is kind of appreciated by the business, because they know that you're really trying to make sure that what comes through the pipeline is what's best for the business?
Yeah, definitely, because I think it's really important that we know what's going on across the business, because you might start to have a conversation about a project in February, but actually it's not actually going to kick off till Q3 or Q4. With the business partners, we can then log that as a future project where we're going to need these type of individuals to support with it, and up front and earlier we can have a bit better visibility to help with business demand.
So do you foresee the business partner team growing, or do you think you can kind of just do more with what you have, bringing everyone up to speed on the process?
I do think in time the team would grow as the organization grows. I think it's something that we need to do. If the business continues to grow, then we'll definitely need to look at bringing in more business partners.
And so you said that, people that have done business partnering before have kind of helped give some guidance on how the team should go forward. Well, what kind of guidance is that? Where are they, kind of what are they using as a reference point? Is it other companies have had internal business partner teams that they built, or is there other, because we're aware of the Institute and we're aware of a couple of other organizations that kind of offer guidance on this, but I'm always keen to hear, who has put the BP roll together, who determines what it does and what it doesn't do, and how other departments view it, and kind of where the roles and responsibilities are drawn. So I'm just curious to hear how you've put that together.
Following best practices like from the BRM Institute, and based on how it's been done how I've done it previously along with the team that I'm working in, is how I think everyone in IT is a business partner. I think we'll all engage with different people at different levels, and we can't stop that, because if you've got a favorite person, you're always going to go to that favorite person. So I think for me, it's all about you listen, you give the best advice, and make sure we're enabling. We want to be enabling business growth, business opportunity through technology. We want to, I think with business partners, we want to hear about it at the start of the conversation, at the start of planning, rather than coming in halfway through. You feel like you've been part of it from conception all the way through to going live.
How much time do you spend kind of trying to learn more about the business, learn more about what might be coming down the road, so you can kind of set everyone up to say, I've looked into this, we can see these are going to be the trends that are coming, or these are the kind of things that will help us. Do you spend much time on research?
Working with the business?
Yeah. Or even out?
So within the business, I have regular catch up with all my stakeholders that I engage with. I have some are fortnightly discussions, depending if we're actively involved in more projects. Some are monthly, just to get monthly touch points. And then I've also managed to get an invite to some of the leadership sessions that are going on. So because as a business partner, you can't speak to everybody in the organization. You speak to a certain level in the organization. But I think for me, it's building that trust and relationship, understand what's in the portfolio, what's in the strategy, and that takes time. I think coming into a new organization like I have, I've just been here over a year. I think a business partner takes a good 12 months to fully understand the business that you're in. Relationships are not formed overnight. Relationships are formed over time with building trust. I'm delivering for that person. If you commit to delivering something, you've got to be able to deliver on that. And I think I do look out, I do like research. I try and do as much research as possible, time permitted. And I also like to speak to the wider IT team, learn from them. What are they doing? What are they seeing within the industry? What are we seeing from security threats out there? What are the new security threats? What are security actors coming towards us? What are the infrastructure team looking at? Is it Azure, AWS? What sort of technology should we be guiding the business to? And then obviously the buzzword that's out there at the moment is AI. When people are coming to me and saying, where can we be using AI more efficiently in our business? So it's trying to understand what you can and cannot do with AI, and making sure that when you are using AI, I'm really enjoying learning about AI at the moment, is how your data is protected. Is it because everyone has a different idea about what AI can do for you?
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I find it comical sometimes. I mean, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and there are always people posting that they've just done this AI certificate or that AI certificate, and everyone's learning about it. Everyone's saying, oh, we need to do this and we need to do that, without really thinking about why. I mean, really, what's not working now that we might be able to get working with AI? What might we be able to improve? And it's the same with digital transformation and all the other kind of fads that come along. People would kind of jump on the bandwagon straight away without really understanding why. And I think that must make it hard for IT, because they've suddenly got all these plates to try and spin, all these things they're trying to keep up with. But have you found because of AI or other things that the business are really trying to get more involved with IT, whereas before they might have been a bit more standoffish?
I think they're definitely more curious now, learning, because like everyone, I use LinkedIn every day, probably like you, Mark. Everyone sees something on LinkedIn about AI can do this and AI can do that, or I've been at a different conference based on their function and they're using AI for this. Is this something that we can do? So definitely coming up more and more in conversations, and to see how it can enable them to do more with using AI.
Yeah.
And AI changes every day. I think what we have today, in 6 months' time, it's going to be completely different.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible how quickly these things are evolving. But just, yeah, I hope that people don't get too carried away, because there's so many people just trying to kind of smash AI into every business, and you think, just wait and see. Think about your business, and this is the same with a lot of kind of IT programs. Is that people see a solution and try to figure out how to jam it into the business, rather than understanding the business, what might need to be improved, and then what we can use to reach that improvement. Just
Yeah.
going back to you've got a history in IT. That's where you kind of came through. The other business partners in the team, are they all from an IT background as well?
Yeah, they've been doing various different roles within IT. So they've been business systems analysts, and then moving into business partnering over the last course of the year. So yeah, it's been good to see how they're developing through the last 12 months as well.
And have they all taken to it quite well? Because I've spoken to this with a lot of our podcast guests, that the technical side of this role is probably the easier side. It's the emotional, the empathetic side of the role that's probably more difficult. And actually, some people have said you've either got it or you haven't. It's not something you can learn or be taught. Do you find that everyone is kind of able to fulfill this role fine, and they do have those qualities that are needed?
I think it takes time. Because it's a kind of different role to what you're doing previously. I think a lot of people in IT, they're busy working away on the computers, doing all the clever stuff, and then you take that and move somebody, then has to go speak to somebody and understand. It's translate. You can't, when you go speak to the business, you can't talk technically. You have to translate it into a language that they understand, and it's trying to, when you're new to doing that, you don't want to overcomplicate it. So I think as you become more and more as a business partner, you grow, and then you'll get to know who your stakeholders are, because each stakeholder has a different understanding, and the conversations change from one stakeholder to another, how you can talk to that person.
Yeah. Did you find that difficult when you first moved into the role, kind of understanding what was jargon and what was kind of business speak? Because when you're in a role, it's just normal language to you.
Yeah.
And it's not until you speak to someone else that you realize, actually, they don't understand me. So did it take long to kind of find the balance?
Yeah, I remember when I first started being a business partner, one of my old managers, he said, try and describe being a business partner how you would describe to your parents about what your job is. Because if when I go speak to my mum and dad and I start talking technical, or I have no idea what you're talking about. So I always remembered that is, try and have a conversation about, right, okay, like, what do you want from this solution? What are you looking for? They're not really caring about what kind of technology it sits on. They're really more interested about what the features and the functions are. And then if it sits on an on-prem server or a cloud server, does it have multi-factor authentication? They're leaving that up to IT to worry about, but trying to have that non-technical conversation. But it is difficult, because you get fascinated by something, and then you're going to talk about, well, if you're going to have 10 people, you should really have 1 meg per person for an internet connection. But then they're not interested in that. They just want to make sure the internet connection that they've got, the bandwidth is going to be suitable for them. So yeah, it's adapting your conversation, and just how you talk to people. It's also how you put it in a PowerPoint presentation as well, is that how they understand it. As business partners, you're doing a PowerPoint presentation or a presentation all the time. You're presenting something and you're speaking something, and sometimes when you're talking, you just have to remember who your audience is, and take one hat off when you're speaking to your IT team, and put another hat on when you're speaking to the business.
Yeah. Do you have an elevator pitch? So if you meet someone in the hallway and they don't really know what it is that you do, you're ready to kind of explain? Because that's, sadly, it's something that business partners and BRMs seem to spend a lot of time doing, is explaining to other people in the business what their role is.
Yeah, I like to say that I bridge the gap between IT and the business, understand your strategies, and I am like your conductor when you bring it into the IT organization. I'm the one that if you want a piece of software, I can help coordinate that, or I can be the conductor that orchestrates that I need somebody from IT security, bring all the people together, tell them what the business are looking for, and then they can go away and help deliver that.
Just talking of security, so I recently went to a mini conference, and it was security for the C-suite. And I thought this was going to be people in security trying to talk in a language that the C-suite would understand, but it was all just very technical. Is that something? I think, yeah, I mean, security is kind of the next level. It's very, very technical. So I think it's probably very difficult for people to kind of talk in layman's terms. Is that something you find particularly, that when you're dealing with the security people, that it's very difficult to get to a level that business can understand?
No, I actually, from my side, I think it's quite easy to speak to them. I think for me, it's all understanding what are the insider threats, what should we be telling the business about do's and don'ts, and I think from working closely with them in previous organizations, in this organization, you get to understand a bit better about what they're doing, and then you then are able to pick what you want to discuss for the business. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we protecting you? Did you know last month the security team preempted this many attacks, or
Right.
we blocked these many emails? So and then what are the, yeah, so no, I feel like I'm not technical in every aspect of IT, and that's okay. I think as long as you understand what we're talking about and what you're delivering,
Yeah.
you can fit into being an IT business partner nicely.
Do you have any kind of, because this is one of the questions that I is always popping up, is kind of how do you demonstrate the value of the business partner function? So you mentioned earlier that you do have like a demand tracker, sorry. Is there anything else that you have that can demonstrate kind of what you've been involved in, how you've managed to kind of ensure it was a success, what kind of problems you managed to solve? So just a way that you can kind of trumpet what your function is delivering.
So I think we have like the project governance, we have that, and we show the projects that we're delivering, that we're involved in. Then it's a good question. I think
It's not common. That's the thing. So a lot of people have, like they've got little things that they do track certain elements. But as an overall, if I have to say, right, what's the business partner function achieved this year? It's quite difficult because you're helping other people achieve stuff rather than achieving it yourself. I just wondered if that's something you've given thought to.
No, I think what I try to do and the rest of the team do is we want to try and understand what the business are doing, and then we give updates to IT, our IT colleagues. Just on it, we have a monthly IT team meeting, and sometimes BPs talk at it, sometimes or not the agenda. We'll talk about, this is what we've learned from the business, or we come together on a weekly basis and we talk about what conversations we're having. Do we think this is actually going to come into a project and expand more than just a conversation, or is it actually going to go somewhere? And I think having the business partner tracker, it tracks demand in conversations, but then at the end of the year, because most organizations say in December, right, what have we delivered this year? And I think without having something that can track the work and the conversations we're having, you're looking back through notepads, you're looking back through emails. Having this tracker, we can then quite quickly go back and say, oh, we helped with that AI project.
Okay.
We helped with setting up this office, or we had conversation about a new piece of software. We helped get that across the line. I think that's the way that we do it. And then obviously I think if you're getting shout outs from your business stakeholders as well, where you're adding value, I think that's where you can really see that business partners are getting the acknowledgements. And
Yeah.
we, in the team that I am in, we see that quite a lot, where the business do give shout outs to individual business partners,
Okay, that's good.
where they have added value and made a difference to how we've delivered.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's really important because one of the other questions I was going to ask is, so did you report up into the CIO?
Yeah, we have a head of IT for the region that I'm in, and I report up via the head of IT business partnering to him.
Okay. And do you know, because I'm assuming he or she is a big supporter of business partnering, but do you know how their peers feel? Other people in the executive team, do they have a good understanding of the function?
Within IT or the business?
Or so outside, yeah, within the business?
Yeah, so no, they do, because at the start of a few months ago, the head of IT had to go out and say to the EC, this is who your IT business partners were. And we got so much praise and applause when we actually reach out to them and say, I'm your IT business partner. We want to see you. And last week we were away at a regional conference, and the amount of people that I've spoken to on Teams and actually getting to meet them face to face is really nice to name IT business partner in the face, because you can't be everywhere. You can't be in one country one day and another country the other day. And it was great to get that. And when we reached out to say hello to these people, once we were named, it was, this is great, this is fantastic. And it's been well received from all levels in the organization, that they do have somebody that they can talk to. But then they'll also have their other people within IT before we introduced IT business partnering that they will go speak to, which is fine. Well,
yeah. So I think that's something that's so important, because one thing that we've seen, unfortunately, so many times is that you'll have a CIO that supports the BRM or BP function. They move on, someone else comes along, and then suddenly the whole thing falls apart. And that's typically because outside of IT, the function isn't really that understood, especially elsewhere on the executive team. So the fact that you do have the awareness and the support is really encouraging, because it means that if your head of IT does decide to move on, that the role is established, it's mature, and the next person that comes in will appreciate that. So that's good that it gives you that kind of safety and comfort.
Yeah, and I think the business partner role will continue to evolve as technology evolves, because it's all the conversations are different. I'm sure, like you, Mark, you have one meeting, and then you have a specific conversation. You move to a different meeting, and it's a completely different conversation. And I think that's why business partners they're having so many different conversations. Having the business partner demand tracker means that you can go in, you can update it. If you're on holiday, you're out sick, you're suddenly go in and say, right, the business are asking for an update on this piece of work. This is where Stuart's got with it. He's going to be back tomorrow. So having that, we're having so many different conversations, spinning many plates. But if we have documented somewhere, there should be no gaps. We should be then to just, somebody else should be able to pick up something in somebody's absence.
Yeah. Well, one thing that we liked with the BRM Institute within their kind of body of knowledge is they use a lot of tools and templates, and a lot of it's on a page, which is really great. And one of them was the relationship strategy on a page, which I thought was quite nice, because then for each of your relationships, you kind of map out what that person expects from you, what they can expect, what you can expect from them, because every relationship is different. Is that something that you have, so that you know, because from partner to partner, the expectations are different, personalities are different, so you can't just take a cookie cutter approach. So is this something you kind of formalized? You know, with each relationship, this is kind of what's expected?
No, in short, no.
Okay.
We just have, we try and always go in with much, this is what IT's up to, this is what we're doing, and then we understand from the business. But I do have stakeholder map that shows you how strong the relationship is.
Okay.
So just like I have a massive big spreadsheet that goes, these are the people that I engage with, this is where the relationship, this is how strong it is. And I use that.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, to be honest, it's not something we typically see from organization to organization. It's something that we thought was a great idea when we saw it. Yeah. And some people do use it, but it's not common.
No.
But are there other tools that you use as a business partner that that help you on a day-to-day basis? Either something that's specific to your team or that you use that belong to kind of other teams around you?
I think we use Microsoft Teams as a way to communicate and share stuff. We use Miro sometimes to help with projects, but I would say for me it's mostly just the business partner tracker that I use is my notes. I still take quite a lot of notes and pen. I like to write stuff down. I get into trouble from my wife because I'm always buying books, and she says, "You work in IT, you should be putting it all on the computer." But I like to write stuff down and take as much as possible. But I think business partner, for me, it's the business partner tracker that I use. I've used different tools over time, but just using the business partner tracker because you can access it from any of your corporate devices that you have.
Is that just what is that based on? Is that a SharePoint thing or
Just SharePoint Microsoft list which shows you just a simple dashboard that I created that had the template, and then it's pasted in there, and then you can update your note section on the right hand side, and it just gives you a status as it new, work in progress, complete, or on hold sort of thing. So then all the business partners have access to it, and then somebody can highlight on their name things up all their work that's in progress, and it's an easier way to keep track of it. And we do that in the EMEA region. It's for our business.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, most of the people I've spoken to have a similar kind of thing. It's not a specific tool, but it's just something that they're just using for that purpose. And I think for the most part, it works well. I've only spoke to Megan that was in the US. They use Notion, which I understand isn't actually a BRM tool. It's just one of these tools you can kind of fill it with whatever you want. So they've had a lot of success with that. But generally from company to company, it's really either using other platforms that are out there, program managers or the architects, or it's just an Excel form so you can track what it is you're doing.
Yeah, and I think there's other tools out there like Jira, Excel you've just mentioned. I think Microsoft SharePoint lists is nice and easy. It's easy to modify and change because we in the business partners, we want to be in control of it, because you can have so many different demand pipes, and you want to be able to edit and change it without having to ask somebody else to do it. So the list changes with the type of what coming in, new software, new hardware, what kind of hardware. Well, it's not just an iPad, it's an Android device. You want to be able to easily configure it, and that's what I like about SharePoint. It allows you to do that, and it's an easy tool for everyone to use.
Right. Is there anything that you do on a daily or weekly basis that is a real challenge that you're kind of looking for a way to make it better? Is there anything that you wish could be done differently as a business partner, whether it's working with other departments or how your role is perceived?
I think for me, I learn something new every day, and I like just to keep asking questions. That's the only way we're really going to learn. If I was going to, at the moment, there'd be nothing I'd want to change. You just keep going, learning, because the only way we're going to learn stuff is if we continue to speak to the business and partner with, and be a partnership, because I think it's important between IT and the business. It's a partnership. It's not one-sided. It's both-sided. So we're not. But I wouldn't like to change anything at the moment.
Okay. When you were establishing the role, did you quite early on define the kind of roles and responsibilities of your team and the other teams that you work with to make sure that you weren't stepping on each other's toes or upsetting people?
So we came up with a framework to say this is what we're going to do, and we discussed that with the wider IT, and then we took it out to the business, and everyone understood and got it. And when I still use that presentation, because you are going to be speaking to new people, and it evolves. You'll have most business partners will have the same business partner deck, and it's the first 3 slides that talk about what the role is, how they fit in the organization, and then the later stages of the PowerPoint is what you're doing for them, what's coming from IT. And I think, as you said, everyone's an IT business partner in IT, from the head of IT to the leadership teams, because they're all going to have different conversations. The conversations I'm having with one person, the head of IT is going to be having a different type of conversations, because you can't be involved in every conversation that's out there. So that's one thing that we said from the outset, is everyone in IT is a business partner. You might not have that as your job title, but in aspects, you are being a business partner, from service desk to desktop to infrastructure to security to to data, sorry. You're all engaging with the business and having different conversations. You might not have that as your job title, but you are an IT business partner.
Yeah, it's actually really nice to hear you say that, because this is something that we've thought for a long time, where in fact ever since we kind of became familiar with the BRM role, we're thinking this is more of a capability, and wouldn't it be nice if the whole organization could think this way? You don't really want individuals owning all the relationships. You want everyone to be thinking like a business partner, because really it's just about understanding where the business is going and what you can do to kind of support that. So it shouldn't be up to a team of people to be managing that themselves. So it's great that you think like that, but at the same time it is good to have these kind of champions, the people that are pure business partners that kind of can develop the role and pass that thinking and those approaches out throughout the organization, so it becomes part of the culture. How have you found, I mentioned right at the start, that the Japanese culture? I mean, we've not spoken to any business partners from Japan or any companies, but I know that they do have a very specific way of doing things. Have you noticed much of that kind of coming in when you joined this company? That was there many differences that you thought, actually, I'm going to have to do this very differently now?
I think starting off, coming into the company, obviously I know where Japan is and know Tokyo, but not knowing any about their culture, learning about how you email somebody, how you talk to somebody. It's very, if you've got to do it by correctly. You can't go in and call them by their first name until you've built up a relationship.
Okay.
So that was until, so they have very, which is, it's good. They're always working. So you can always get hold of somebody in Japan from the IT team if I want to speak to them. They want to learn about you. They're very much, when they heard that I joined last year and they heard I was Scottish, they wanted to learn all about me. Where about in Scotland I was from, what football team I supported, interested in my family, to learn about my wife and my children. So it's been very open-ended. They want to get to know you, and not just me understand their culture, but they want to understand my as well, which has been nice. And then last week, because we were away last week, I wore a kilt on one of the nights. We had some of our Japanese colleagues there. They were like, "Oh, kilt, never seen somebody in a kilt before." So it was really nice to see that, and they were wearing their traditional dress as well. So I think it's just learning how their cultures and understanding that as well. It's like when you travel to a different country, you just need to understand the cultures, the different rules and regulations. It's fantastic. It's I like working in international companies, because then you learn so much working in an international company.
But I found, because I've worked also for a few multinationals, and especially when you're dealing with people in Europe, you don't tend to think about how different their cultures could be. And it's not until you visit the office that you realize actually there are a lot of things that are different. And then you're kind of aware of them, and then you pay attention to them and change how you are. So, and they really appreciate that. So I think it's really nice when you can do that, because it ultimately helps you build the relationship and work together better.
And I think in the previous company, I started working internationally in 2012/2013, where I wasn't just visiting a UK office, I was visiting offices across Africa, across Middle East, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and even Russia. how it's different from one country to another. I think also from being an IT business partner, it makes you truly understand the business more if you get to go out and somebody face to face in a different country, because how you deliver IT services, get software might be available in one country, but it's not available in another. Understanding the financial laws, the financial changes in certain countries, that's where makes it a good day to be a good time to be a business partner, because you're learning all of that, and then you've got all that upfront information that the wider ICT team are looking for, that you've went away and you've worked with the local business to understand this is what you can and cannot do, and then it makes your colleagues' jobs a little easier.
Yeah. Are there any parts of the business that you've had to learn that might be more difficult than others? I mean, you mentioned finance there, but are there any other parts of the business that, because you obviously coming from an IT background, that's kind of covered, and then there are certain parts of the business that is kind of common for you to deal with, but are there any that have been uncommon and it's taken a little bit longer to get, more familiar?
I think finance at the start is difficult because it's a different kind of conversation. Because depending on your role, sometimes you need to get involved with budgets, pulling budgets together, helping the business score up something. So yeah, I think learning, and each organization's teams do some things differently. It's not, it's the same in one company to another. I think all skills are transferable from one organization to another. Definitely in IT, I think we can move from one industry to another, because an IT business partner, it's just a different kind of conversation that you're having to understand what the business is, what the strategy is. I think for me, that doesn't come with your first conversation. That can take a long time before you fully understand the business and what they're looking for. And you just got to start out small and build it up.
Right. Do you think that, sorry, I was just going to ask, any of the roles that you did prior to business partnering, what one of those do you think kind of supported you the best in what you're doing now, kind of gave you the most tools that you're using now, or the right mindset?
I would probably say when I was the service delivery manager in Africa, when I moved out of just having a UK role to be a service delivery manager for the company I was working on in Africa, getting to go out and visit these people, talk to these people, understand, it allowed me then to come back and have conversations with the wider IT team to say, this is what they do, this is why they do it. And I think that was really important for business partners. We want to listen, understand, and then advise what is the best way forward.
Right. Do you think there's anything in the year that you've been with this company, anything that you've changed yourself, or that has been changed, that has made a big impact to how successful your function is?
I think just the team I work in is fantastic, and then the wider IT team's great as well. I think the how we've all come together to help establish business partnering, roll it out, is every business partner has a different way of presenting, and I think that's great to see. Nobody wants to do the same. We might have the same PowerPoint presentation, but how you deliver it is going to be different. And just seeing how people are evolving and changing, I think, because when I came in, I was brought in to be the IT business partner. And then there's the other 3 people on the team. There's me and another 2 people and the head of IT business partner, and we've all worked together and we've all come up with the ideas together. It's not just been what works. We want everyone's buy-in to business partnering, because everyone has a different way of doing business partnering. And as long as we have the same framework and goals, we might do it differently or talk about it differently.
Yeah, no, that sounds really great. I see we're kind of almost at the end of our time here. So there's one question that I always ask. If you've got any advice for other people that are either moving into a business partner role or are in it and are kind of struggling, and is there anything you can say, focus on this and that should see you through?
I would say ask loads of questions. It allows you to understand more. and it also allows the person you're asking to how curious you are about their business, because you've got to ask questions to make you understand. Just turn up and listen, and then offer advice.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thanks so much, Stuart. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and great learning about your business and how you've got to where you are. So it's been a pleasure, and I'm sure everyone listening will appreciate the insights that you've shared. So thanks so much for joining me. And I'll look forward to seeing where you progress from here.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. It's been great to come on with you. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Stuart. Cheers.